Alright, so I now have all the pieces sewn on for the Nancy block, and I'd just like to point out that the last piece that gets sewn on is, you know, kind of flappy. It's attached just at one, you know, along the seam. These other pieces are more secure because they've got other seams going through them that help hold them down a little better. But I'm always a little bit concerned about this last one. I'm afraid that it's going to, when I'm trying to sew the blocks together, I'm afraid that it's going to flip out of the way and it won't get sewn in properly, and then I'll have to unpick something. So what I like to do is do a basting stitch around the outside. So the solid line represents what the finished block is going to look like. The dotted line is where we cut for our seam allowance. So what I want to do is baste with the sewing machine. So I'm going to turn my sewing machine up to the longest stitch length that it does, which on my machine is a 4.0. And I'm just going to baste all the way around the block. While I'm doing that, before I start, I want to make sure that piece number 5 is spread out and in position like it's supposed to be. And then I'm going to baste all the way around the block. And I will do that for all 4 of them. I'm going to go do that, and then I will come back and demonstrate trimming the blocks to their along the seam allowance line. So I have now basted around each of the blocks. You can see my stitching here. I changed color. See it on here. And so the next step is to trim the blocks to this dotted line here. And the way that I usually do that is I take the 1/4 inch line on my ruler and I put that on as precisely as I can on top of the solid line. And that should mean that the dotted line is just visible along the edge of the ruler as kind of a double check. Make sure that the rest of your pieces are not close to where you're going to be cutting, because it would be horrible to cut through something that you didn't intend to cut through at this point. Actually, I don't think I've ever done that during the trimming stage. I did do that once when I was, I had made a fold and I was cutting along something and I cut one of my other blocks. That was a very annoying mistake. It meant that I had to completely redo all of them. So again, I'm going to take the 1/4 inch line, line it up with the solid line. Check and make sure that I can just see the dotted line along the edge of the ruler, and then cut. And keep going all the way around the block, lining up on the solid line. Checking to see that I can see the dotted line there. Trim. And again on the 4th side. Okay, so now we can see a very nice looking, very accurate block, accurate due to paper piecing. So we'll set that one aside and keep going on the rest of these. all 4 blocks are trimmed. Let's have a little peek at what it's likely to look like when it's sewn together. There we go. Ooh, I like the way this little cluster of flowers came together in the center. That looks really pretty. Ooh, I'm liking this. Now we'll lose a little bit of that in the seam allowance, but still, it's pretty. And these leaves coming up here, awesome. I did not fussy cut this particular block number 5. I just kind of took it from where I could fit it on the fabric.